Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Bindu Lohani, the Vice President of the Asian Development Bank in charge of knowledge management and sustainable development. Professor Tommy Koh, Chairman of the MEM Advisory Committee and Ambassador at Large at MFA. Mr. Ronnie Tay, CEO of the National Environment Agency. Mr. Henrik Jessen, Chairman of Jessen and Jessen Southeast Asia. Very important person because he sponsored this event. So give him a warm round of applause, please. Professor Lai Lin Heng, who is the chairperson of the MEM Program and Management Committee and chairperson of APCEL. In case you don't know what it stands for Asia Pacific Center for Environmental Law. Professor George Ofori, who is the director of the MEM Program. Excellencies, distinguished guests, alumni, friends, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the MEM Program, let me warmly welcome you to this first Asia Environment Lecture 2013, organized by 5 parties, the MEM Program, the BES Program, APCEL, the National Environment Agency, and also the Singapore Environment Institute. Before we start, let me introduce myself. I'm Victor Savage. I'm only a savage by name, not by nature. And it's important in this environment to have the noble savage as well around. So before we start, also, please, if you don't mind, can you switch off all your beeping devices, your mobile phones, etc. For those of you that have heart pacers, please keep them on. We don't want a heart attack in the room. All right? So thank you very much for coming here this evening. Let me say something about our lecture this evening. I mean, not about what Dr. Lohani is going to say. But as you know, climate change and environmental changes are taking place all around us, and there's a whole lot of guises in which it comes under: natural hazards, floods, droughts, sea level rises, etc. So it seems very important, actually, to have an environmental exercise to call to attention the environmental challenges that Asian countries, cities, and communities face. The environment not only needs media attention and public awareness, but it also needs a call for action for government, corporations, NGOs, and academics. This is important especially to Asia for 3 reasons. Firstly, because Asia is one of the most populous continents globally, and environmental impacts have severe consequences on human populations. In 2011 in Thailand, over 500 lives were lost as a result of 6 weeks of floods. Floods take place throughout this year in the Philippines, China, India, Bangladesh, Malaysia, Myanmar, Thailand, and even in organized and squeaky efficient Singapore. Secondly, Asia has become an economic dynamo globally, and one needs to have a reminder to our governments, bureaucrats, and corporate titans that environment is the underbelly of sustainable environments, all right? There's Joel Murgenson, in his latest book called The Approaching Great Transformation, aptly puts it: the twin crises of resource depletion and climate change are the fleet of clay in our economic system. And thirdly, governments and industry captains must realize that sustainable environments and preserving biodiversity are part of the equation in all development programs, in raising the quality of life and standards of living in our cities. As the British economist Sir Nicholas Stern wrote in his blueprint for a safer planet, he says, adaptation must be a part of development. As members of the academic community here in NUS, in both the BS and rest of the MEM program, we know that climate change and environmental changes involve 3 issues. They must be multi and interdisciplinary in scope and conception. Secondly, they must be applied and pragmatic in solutions. And thirdly, they must involve 3 important parties: the government, corporations, and the public. So this inauguration, I hope, is befitting of this particular agenda we have on hand. And in fact, we have a very prominent Asian banker from one of the more leading banks of Asia, the Asian Development Bank, to kick off the lecture series. It is an endorsement of the parties involved of the importance of environmental management. Having said that, I thought it would be pertinent to say a few words about the MEM program, the Masters in Environment Management program, for those of you that are new to it. And there are 3 take-home. You can tap out this and think about it when you go home. All right. First is that the MEM program is one of the oldest interdisciplinary programs in NUS. We began in 2001, and we are celebrating the 13th anniversary of the program. Secondly, and more important, is that the MEM program is one of the very few programs, not only in Asia but in the world, where 8 faculties and schools are involved in teaching the program, which includes people from the arts, business, engineering, law, medicine, science, the School of Environmental Design, and the LKY School of Public Policy. And third, in addition to the multi- and interdisciplinary program, we have also 2 American universities that are actively involved in the teaching and work in the program. The Yale School of Forestry and Environmental Studies, which was with us at its very inception in 2001, and the Duke School of Marine Environment. Our students are actively involved in fieldwork, and they're exposed to all the industry analysis of the environment in our weekly seminars. Our students come from over 20 Asian countries, and they are much sought after. Our students work in 3 distinct areas. They go back to government, many are in commercial corporations, and the third in non-government organizations. But let me say that the sustainability of the MEM program has to a large extent been a product of the passion that faculty have had for the environment. It was very late that the university actually recognized the contribution of the program and of the faculty members. We were there because we believed in the environment, and we sustained the program for almost a decade before a real official recognition of the program came to fruition. And we are also very happy to say that we had a lot of important contributions from other corporations. The Shell Group of companies in Singapore for sponsoring our bursaries and for providing money that has allowed us to publish volumes of our good academic thesis. We are now in the 4th volume this year. We are also grateful to the National University of Singapore Society, NUSS, the Japan Asia Development Bank, and the Tan Che Beng Educational Foundation for their bursary help. We hope that more of you that are in this room will think about contributing to our program. I want to say something before we start off the lecture, and that is to give thanks to the people that are involved over the years, and for this particular lecture. The first and foremost is Professor Tomiko, for his continuing and abiding support for the program and providing, in fact, the suggestions for the speaker this evening. How about a warm round of applause for Professor Tomiko? He is our jewel in the crown. And to Hendrik Jetson, the chairman of Jepson and Jetson Southeast Asia, for believing in our environmental cause and sponsoring our activities so generously, including this lecture series. I hear he's going to do it for 3 years, so thank you very much. To the National Environment Agency for partnering and co-organizing this lecture series, we are indeed very thankful for your cooperation. Mr. Ronnie Tay is here. How about a warm applause for him? We'd like to thank Professor Lan Heng and George Furrow, who worked tirelessly, and let me tell you that, to put this whole lecture series together. And to Virginia Yap Kam, our MEM administrator, who works around the clock literally. She stays up in the program as early in the wee hours of the morning at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning as well. So a warm round of applause for her. And to Dr. Bindu Lohani, who is going to give us this inaugural lecture, thank you very much for spending time with us. We know how busy you are, but we hope that your presence here will at least show the business world that we are not a bunch of soft-headed, idealistic people, but we have our feet firmly on the ground and we know how important business and environment is. And finally, to thank all of you for taking time to join this particular lecture. Now, having said that, let me say a few words about Dr. Bindu Lohani, and I think you have his CV with you. He's the Vice President of Asian Development Bank, and I don't want to go into the whole impressive CV, which I think you can read. But I want to say just 3 things about him. The first is that he has spent 25 years in the Asian Development Bank under several positions, and many of them, they concern some aspect of the environment. He began as a civil servant in Nepal, overseeing infrastructural projects, and then after that, the Asian Development Bank. Secondly, he is an engineer by education in civil engineering before taking a doctorate in environmental engineering. He has done management programs in very established American universities in Chicago, Cornell, and Yale. He's not only a banker, but I would say a lot of us would like to be in his shoes. He's actually quite a great, accomplished academic. He's written over 200 articles and 8 books. Hello, that's more than I've ever written so far. So that's most impressive, I must say. Wonderful. You better join. You've got a second career in academia. And thirdly, in recognition of his banking and environmental work, Dr. Lohani has received several doctorate degrees from the University of Griffith, the University of Cordilleras in the Philippines, the Angeles University Foundation in the Philippines. And he was also an advisory professor at Tongji University and Shanghai University in China. So he is also a professor, besides being the banker, etc. That's a fitting farewell